everyone. Welcome to Virtual Veg Fest Live. It is our Thursday edition, our first Thursday talk of 2021. Super excited. And we have Richard Hubbard on, which, it's Vegan Transformation Week. That's what I've dubbed it because our two talks this week are with two people that have lost an incredible amount of weight, but it's not just the weight loss, it's the mental and physical changes in their journey that is going to make it so that they actually keep that weight off and mentally and physically are just happier spiritually. I'm sure everything. So I can't wait for you to hear from everybody. But first, some business. Thank you to Orgain. If you go to orgain.com or if you go to the virtualvegfest.com website, you can actually click and buy stuff through our affiliate link. Thank you to them for sponsoring our live talks this week. And of course, the plant based networks were powered by them. And like I said, you can go to virtualveggies.com and click our Pass the Buck campaign. And if you donate money towards Blind Spot Sanctuary, which is in North Carolina, every dollar that you donate, you'll get entered to win a prize pack from Orgain. And of course, our raffle copter is also up on our website and our social media pages. So you can go and enter a raffle copter and be entered to win prizes from Follow Your Heart, Crafters Organic, and Hodo Foods. Hey, how awesome is that? And thank you to them for donating prizes to us. So like I said, Richard is part of our talk today, and I'm going to go bring him on. If you have any questions or comments, remember to put them into the little comment box, and we'll definitely get to them. Hey, Richard, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm okay. You're in Connecticut, right?
Yes.
Oh, very good. What part?
Uh, Northwest Connecticut, Litchfield County. But I work
Okay.
in Fairfield County. I work in the Bridgeport area.
All right, very cool. I'm from New York, so I lived on Long Island,
Right?
taking that ferry across many times,
Yes. Yes.
casinos, the whole thing. So
Yeah.
I'm going to say, how about you share with everyone who you are and as much as you want to share about yourself.
Sure. I'm a webmaster. I've been working at a community college in Connecticut for the past 10 years. It'll be my 10th anniversary this year. Um, I went to school for graphic design, Pratt Institute. I've had a desk job most of my adult life, and that's how I ended up morbidly obese. I wasn't moving much, and you know. But anyway, so I live in Connecticut. I love New York ever since I went to Pratt. I haven't been visiting much with the pandemic, but hope to get back there soon. But, yeah. That's a little intro. And I just came out with my new book too, A Plant-Based Journey to Health, which we could talk about after.
Oh, definitely, definitely. So, like many people who sit all day, what were you eating to get to the point where you were morbidly obese?
Yeah, I had such a bad diet. I go into my book as well. It was the typical standard American diet that I was eating such an excessive amount of calories. At one point, I remember calculating my calories. It was like probably 10,000 calories at one point. Can you imagine in a day? And I was a total junk food junkie. I ate at all the fast food restaurants. I never cooked, never prepared food, and it was just a horrible, horrible diet. I mean, it didn't start in my adulthood. It was when I was in college. I was eating bad, but the difference then was I was very active. I was walking everywhere, especially when you're in New York. You walk everywhere, and so I was at my best shape until now when I was in college. But then after college is when the weight started to come on.
Oh, I can only imagine. I
Yeah.
have a friend that was pretty overweight when he was younger, and
Mhm.
he would say he would eat sticks of butter.
Yeah,
You know,
practically.
I was like, what?
Boxes of macaroni and cheese. I could totally relate.
Yeah, I mean, box of macaroni and cheese is calm.
Yeah,
You would do
right.
a stick of butter on top of a croissant, and on top of bread and
I,
oil.
I did love butter then too.
Yeah,
I did
butter
put it
is
on a lot of things.
yeah, it's definitely it's one of those big ones
Yeah, for
of,
sure, for sure.
of things that do you even eat plant-based butter now?
No, I don't bother with it now.
Right.
Yeah, you
I can
don't
only
need
imagine. So 10,000 calories a day. What was your
it.
epiphany?
Um, well, it wasn't until I was eating this way for probably 10 years until I went to see my doctor. There was a requirement. I worked for the state of Connecticut, as I said, at a college, and they changed the insurance requirements. Everybody had to start getting physicals and doing preventive things in order to pay a cheaper premium. And so the cheaper premium was actually a big incentive for me. I mean, I could have paid a higher premium, but I'm careful with money, so I didn't want to do that. But it's interesting to me looking back at my history. I always hated going to the doctor, and I avoided it up until that point. My doctor had retired when I was in college, maybe shortly before that, and I never went to the doctor since then. So this physical really was a big deal that I made it. I even showed up. Um, so it was this physical, and the doctor told me straight out that I was morbidly obese, and I already had a feeling I was obese, even though I didn't weigh myself much. But to hear those words, morbidly obese, that scared me to death. And the other thing that he said was something I wasn't expecting, that I was hypertensive, high blood pressure. And I wasn't afraid of that before the physical. I was secretly afraid of being diabetic because my mom and other family members, they had type 2 diabetes, so it is in the family. Um, so I was actually starting to eat a little bit better before the physical, probably a month or two before. So my blood sugar wasn't as bad as it could have been. I'm sure it would have been sky high had I been eating the way I was. So it was still high, but not that high. So the doctor wasn't too worried. He was worried about my blood pressure and cholesterol. Wake
Oh,
up call.
oh, you locked up a little. Okay. No, I mean, I hear you. It's really funny that your choice of thing that you were afraid of was diabetes. It's
Yeah,
it's it's really serious. If people don't know, type 2 diabetes is something you acquire over the course of your lifetime, and type 1 is the one that you're born with. And
right.
type 2 is reversible based on diet and exercise and what you put into your body.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a dad that passed away from diabetes and strokes, so I'm more than
Sorry to hear
familiar.
that.
He was
Yeah.
it's Thank you. I was pretty young. I was 18 when he passed away. He was only 55 years old, and
Wow.
I used to give him his insulin shots. I used to put the insulin in the needle, make sure
Oh
there was
yeah,
no air bubbles. It was so
yeah.
much fun, and like, but he ate horribly,
Yeah.
like absolutely horribly. And I learned, watching, I think, which movie was it? One of the movies, one of the documentaries. It
Forks
wasn't
over.
game. It wasn't Forks Over Knives or Game Changers. It was the one in between.
What the health?
What the Health? That's exactly it. From
Yeah.
What the
That's the
Health?
favorite movie, by the way.
Right? Did you pick? Yeah, that's
Yeah.
they talk about when it comes to diabetes. I always thought it was the sugar
Yeah, that's what I
that
was
did
taught.
it, right?
Yeah.
And because he loves sugar, but he also ate the standard American diet, high of fat, high in meats, high in cholesterol, and you
Mhm.
learn from watching that movie that diabetes is caused by the increase in fat more
Yeah,
so than the increase in sugar in your body.
exactly.
Completely changed my whole perspective on everything, because I mean either way it would have worked, because he didn't, he didn't eat well. But I'm telling you, I get your fear, because it's always been something in back of my mind. Like, I don't want to
Yeah,
have diabetes, because I mean
exactly.
he lost his eyesight. I know people that have lost parts of their bodies from
Right.
from having diabetes and not taking care of themselves.
Right.
So I
And the
totally
thing
hear
is,
you.
with me, my mom, she took care of herself. I mean, she took her meds, and but she followed my lead also, and eventually, she's mostly plant based. I mean, she'll cheat, unlike me, but she did pretty much reverse her type 2 diabetes as well. So, I mean, it can be done, even for somebody who has it for years and years. And I just want people to realize that out there.
Oh, definitely. And then for hypertension, for heart disease, cardiovascular disease,
Yeah.
what was your blood pressure? Do you remember?
It was like 140 or 150 over 110. And
110.
yeah, that was a scary thing. I mean, I didn't really understand the readings back then, but when I learned about it, yeah, that's incredibly high.
110.
Yeah, it's like
140 is not so bad.
yeah, it's like borderline, probably ready to have a heart attack or something. Thank
You're
God
you're
I
very
made it through.
fortunate.
But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I
And I'm
mean,
also fortunate because my doctor, he didn't make me go on meds. He prescribed it, and I made a deal with him that I was going to eat clean and try to lose weight. And if I lose weight and and reverse my health problems in 6 months, he gave me 6 months. And if I reverse my hypertension by then, he wouldn't push the meds anymore. So that's exactly what I did with research. By 6 months later, my blood pressure was like probably 110 over 70 or something. I don't remember what it was, but it did come down.
that's incredible. So tell us
And no
about
meds.
yeah, tell us about this research because there's a lot of people that could watch this or are not in the same boat but have high cholesterol or have high blood pressure or are in that teetering, that pre-diabetic,
Right,
right?
right.
So what kind of research did you do? And thanks to your doctor and your work for
Yeah,
being your catalyst for this.
exactly. Well, I'd like to also, when I share this story, it's similar to Eric Adams. I don't know if you're familiar with him. Him and I, we both went to the internet. That's what I did, was go to the internet. And he has a similar story where he went on the internet. He researched it, and that's what I did. He's the Brooklyn Borough president. You might want to look him up. He reversed his diabetes as
Very
well.
nice. Yep.
And yeah, his story resonates with me because he did the same thing. So I researched and I came up with first I came up with foods to eliminate. And I remember one of the first foods to eliminate was red meat. I read somewhere that it caused hypertension and cholesterol problems, so that was one of the first foods. And then further research, I found out about aspartame and different foods. So gradually over time, what I was doing was eliminating processed foods and gradually animal products as well from my diet. And a big impact in my life was Dr. Fuhrman. I learned at him, I think it was in April of 2012. This was like 3 months after my physical. I somehow caught him on an episode of Dr. Oz, and it changed my life. The reason that was so impactful was because he had 3 success stories on there. And it wasn't so much about their weight loss, even though they all had weight loss. It was about they were reversing their conditions like cancer and all these conditions. I don't remember all the conditions right now, but they had a number of health problems. And every one of their health problems reversed. So I was thinking, there is something to this. So from that day on, I started having the G-bombs foods. And for those who aren't familiar, it's greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, and seeds. Now, of course, I incorporated other foods along the way over the years, but plant-based foods. But those are always my baseline foods to go to each day. Even to this day, I try to make sure I have at least those foods. So Dr. Fuhrman, and he's well aware of my story. He's invited me on to different talks, and I've met him multiple times. And he's basically my hero for transforming my life.
That's amazing. I met him in New Jersey. I actually emceed the New Jersey Veg Fest, and he was one of the speakers in 2017.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
That's absolutely wonderful to hear. And he's got a pretty strict way of eating.
He does. But,
He really
um,
does. There's no
yeah.
desserts on his plan. No desserts. None. Zero. So,
Well, as a whole food plant-based eater, there are ways to incorporate desserts, but you have to have healthy,
right.
avoid the oils and but there are healthy ways to have, like nice cream with bananas, or
Yep.
there's all kinds of options. So he may not say, he may say no desserts, but I do incorporate, like I said, other doctors' advice too, like Dr. Greger and
Hmm.
Dr. Campbell. I mean, I follow them all. So G-bombs may be my baseline, but I also do have other foods as well.
That makes sense. Because there's definitely variety is key for a lot of people who
Yeah, for
who look
sure.
at this and go, "Oh, look at all that you gave up." And it's like, gave up. There's a whole world of food out there.
Exactly. And if you think about it, then the meat eaters, what are they eating? Either chicken or beef, or there's very little variety if you think about it for them. And here we have so many thousands of plants to choose from. And,
Right. And
you gotta laugh when they say there's no variety in this diet.
I know, I know. It's like meat, potato, oil, salt
Exactly, exactly.
on their plate and like boiled green beans.
And they have to have salt and other spices to make their meat taste good, because otherwise, what would it taste like? I don't even think it would have a taste.
Right, that's what it kind of that came up on a Kathy Hester. She did a live cooking demo, and
Yeah,
one of the things was talking about spices, and I actually commented as the plant-based network. I said the whole reason that meat tastes good is because of the spices that you put on it to make it taste
exactly,
like whatever you want it
exactly,
to taste like. So, I mean, we
exactly.
take those spices and we use them on tofu, tempeh, potatoes,
Right.
vegetables. I mean, everything,
If you think
seitan,
about it, you
right?
can take a strawberry and you don't need any spice at all the flavor. And, you know, we don't have to have spices, even though I do use them. But the meat eaters, they absolutely have to, because I don't think they want to eat otherwise.
That's true. And Susan said, "Hey, Susan," and she said, "Dates for dessert." And she said, "Hi, Richard."
Yeah,
So
I love dates.
dates
Well,
are
Susan, yeah, she's my Facebook friend as well.
yes, yes, she's part of the plant based network. So yes, dates are I bought 5 pounds of them.
Yeah,
So
I
they're a
do it for
staple.
myself. Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I'll add them to smoothies as well.
Yes, I put one in my smoothie every day. And that's my basis for having 5 pounds of dates in the house is because I put one in a smoothie daily.
I can
And
relate.
so and then I make like this cashew cream. Actually from I make my own milk. So I make an
Oh, do
almond
you?
cashew coconut milk. But then
I
in
gotta start doing that. Yeah.
the almond cow has the guts of the milk in it, and I don't want to waste it. So I decided to put it in the back into the Vitamix. I had a
Hmm.
date, I had vanilla and some cinnamon, and I let it go, and it becomes a
That sounds
cream.
so good.
And my partner puts it in his coffee as a coffee creamer, and I put it back into my smoothie, like a tablespoon
Nice,
back into my
nice.
smoothie, so you don't have to waste, and it's absolutely
Exactly.
delicious.
Oh, I bet. I bet.
And that would be whole food plant based.
Yeah. I
100%
do.
sure.
I like Planet oat milk, and that's what I buy often because it doesn't have oil.
Right.
And that's my favorite plant-based milk. But I'd like to start making my own too, like you have.
I definitely recommend an almond cow. I get nothing for that, but almond cow is it's the coolest thing. I just decided with the pandemic, a lot of things changed because of the pandemic.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to decrease how much money you're spending. I was buying all this almond milk, and I said, you know
Mhm.
what? I'll put the money out for the almond cow because it's not cheap, but I'm going to save in the long run
Right,
on buying bulk nuts that I know are raw and organic
right,
and
right,
make my milk that way.
right.
And it's been incredible. Like I said, I make cashew milk, almond milk, I can make oat milk, and I could just combine them, you know, almond cashew. I mean, it's been really cool. The biggest problem I had was what to do with like the guts of the milk.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
figuring out that I was dehydrating the almonds and making almond
Oh, yeah.
flour.
Yeah,
So I
definitely.
was like, but that's a 12-hour process. So,
Sure,
so I
sure.
was like, how can I make it so we eat this and
Yes.
I don't waste it? And that's been it's really neat. So you figure out like almond milk or oat milk, what are you spending? Up to $5 for that container?
Well, it's like 2.99. It's still,
Right.
yeah.
Depending on
I'd
which
be
brand that
saving
you
money
buy.
on them. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So so let's go back to you. Let's go back to you and how
Sure.
this transition happened. How heavy were you when like what was your heaviest? And then let's
I stopped weighing myself at the gym when I was 345 pounds. And the reason is I was afraid to see it go over 350, even though I know I was way over that. So, yeah, I probably weighed myself maybe a couple years before my physical was 345. So I was, I don't know what my heaviest was, but it was well over 350.
and
And I did work out a little bit at the gym, even heavy. But the thing is, I was never took it serious. I was never working up the sweat. It was kind of like a casual walk on a treadmill for maybe 10 minutes or something. And I lifted a little bit of weights on the weight machines, but it was really nothing that was getting me in shape.
right.
And
And how
I was one who believed that you can exercise your weight, your bad diet away. That's never the case. You really can't. There's no way. And I
no,
was doing yo-yo dieting too. I did so many crazy diets over the years. A high protein, high fat diet, and low carb diet. I never got anywhere. I never lost any significant amount of weight doing any of them.
how tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
Okay, you're tall. All right.
Yeah,
I had
but
a
still,
feeling, but I mean that's
yeah,
still
but still 350 is a lot for anybody. So
yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes. Sadly, growing up, I had a friend who was 6'5" and over 400 pounds, and
Wow.
he's one of the reasons I have my nickname. And he passed away in his early 40s, which we
Wow.
kind of knew would happen because he was drinking like
Or
gallons of milk.
diabetes and everything.
He just, I mean, from obesity, gallons of
Yeah,
milk, smoking cigarettes. I mean, it was just really sad because you said, you
very.
need to do something, but he'd lose like 70 pounds, then gain more than that back. I mean, total yo yo. And
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's really hard because you sit and you have those conversations. Like, if you don't do something, you're not going to live.
hmm
And
And you
he,
tried to tell them as well, or
oh yeah. I mean,
yeah,
it's someone I met when I was 18, and then he died in his young 40s. So,
right,
I mean, I get where you're coming from. Is what I guess what
yeah,
I'm saying. Like, like he couldn't fit
and
in my car.
oh wow. And I
Yeah.
mentioned in the book, yeah, there's one person I credit for pointing out how fat I was. And that's the way you put it. Was my dad? He took me out to dinner one night. I think it was either 2008 or 2009, and I ordered. I even remember my dinner was like a cheeseburger. It was a huge one, and fries. And before the food came, he was complaining how fat I'd gotten, and it really made me feel so disgusting and what's wrong with me. And it didn't motivate me to change, though, which I find interesting until the doctor. But in the back of my mind, from that point on, I knew that I was obese to the world, really. I couldn't deny what was happening, but for some reason, it didn't make me change. But I still consider that a turning point, though, because I think it was opening my eyes, even though I didn't make the change. But there were other people who were enabling because you were actually a good friend trying to have them change. You know, people often would encourage me to eat more at my job, or oh, finish this, or all the candies around. They'll give it to me because they'll know I'll binge on it, and so it's not the healthiest environment when you're trying to lose weight.
Yeah. No, not at all. Because you're that person.
Yeah,
It's like, I can't finish this. You're rich.
yeah,
You're
exactly,
like, okay,
exactly.
this is great.
Yeah,
I'll be that garbage disposal for you.
that,
Appreciate
that's
it.
kind of what I felt like too. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for everybody else.
Right. And it's not what you want to be. So
No,
you go to the doctor, you get motivated, you were trying to do the gym.
yeah,
I mean,
but what really changed that year, besides my diet, I also started to take exercise serious. I was using the treadmill an hour a day, 6 days a week, which looking back, obviously I didn't need to exercise that hard because some of my other friends who have lost weight being plant based, they never did any exercise at all till they got the weight off. But the interesting thing is, I was exercising like a maniac from like January, whatever the date of that physical was, to the end of the year. I was really going at it. Um, Doing a lot of cardio. That's why I was able to lose the first 120 pounds that first year, but it probably still would have fell off even without the exercise. But anyway, I was doing fitness challenges that first year, and it made me realize I never knew how competitive I was until then. Um, we had teams of four, and my team, we either came in first or second. I did about 3 or 4 challenges the first couple of years. And my team really worked hard. Of course, I lost the most weight of my team, but others did well too. The only difference is I'm the only one who kept the challenge going in my head ever since. Sadly, everybody else goes back to their old habits, which is the problem with diets and which can be the problem with challenges. It has to be a lifestyle change, and that's what I allowed myself to do, is have this lifestyle change while I was doing these challenges. And I think that was the right way. I learned a lot from the challenges. For example, 10,000 steps a day, which I still try to do. But you got to keep the lifestyle going. You can't. Diets have an endpoint, and like challenges, and that's why people gain the weight again.
Psychologically, did you do anything different? Did you like was there anyone that helped you with that part of this, or is it just the diet and the exercise?
Well, psychologically, I didn't want to become my dad and stepmom, who were on a ton of meds at the time. They're still on meds as well. And I didn't want to see myself constantly taking pills for the rest of my life. My mom is a nurse. I give her a lot of credit. She's been working up until this pandemic, and she's always been a nurse. But she told me, I remember when I picked up my meds and was telling her about them, she told me, well, everybody's on something, because she gives out medications, to patients, and she didn't think it was a big deal. And it just it makes me wonder how I got this attitude that I have, because when you have my parents both telling me, there's no big deal, and they're on meds, and how did I get to the point where I was at when nobody around me was like this? I have no idea, but I did have this incredible drive to get as healthy as I could.
That's amazing, and not everyone's on meds. I'm 51. I don't have a single over. I have no prescription meds going into my body daily.
Yeah, and that's what I try to tell my dad. He loves to say to me, "Wait till I'm his age," um, but I don't plan to be like that. I mean, I want to eat, as healthy as I can, because I don't want to be like that.
Yeah,
He
that's
doesn't
it's incredible
understand the
motivator.
stubbornness that I have within me, and I'm willing to prove a point. And wherever he is, I hope he's watching me when I'm at his age, and able to see that. See, I kept I kept my word. I'm not going to be on meds.
Yeah, no, you don't. I mean, granted, there's genetics that we can't avoid, right? But
Right.
the way you're
Well,
going about
obviously,
what you're doing is the best way to avoid having to be on any type of medication
yeah,
whatsoever as you
yeah,
grow older.
yeah. Obviously, if there was some genetic disease, I wouldn't avoid medication. But hypertension, heart disease, diabetes, type 2 diabetes, these are all avoidable, highly avoidable diseases. And I think they say like 90 or 95% of heart disease can be avoided, if I'm correct. Imagine that with the diet.
Right.
So that, people don't have to go have heart surgery and all these other things. personally, I would much rather have a clean diet than to face, you know, heart attacks and heart surgery and everything else other people have to go through. So that I think that's what motivates me.
It's a great motivator
Yeah.
to keep the weight off. I mean, it's incredibly important when you're I like how you did it. I believe that exercise and diet need to go hand in hand because
Hmm.
I've done the yo-yo. This
Yeah. Yeah.
last year was incredibly important to me. I dropped 30 pounds. I like started exercising daily. Totally hear you. I've always done either the exercise or I've done the the dieting. I didn't really put them
Right.
together.
Right.
And it's not dieting because it's what I plan on eating, which
That's
is
exactly right. Yeah.
more whole foods, plant based. I mean, I'm vegan, ethical
Yeah.
vegan, but
Me too.
I do eat processed foods at times, but I do a
Right.
lot of cooking, and
Right.
I notice a big difference when I eat more whole foods, plant based. Like my body goes,
Oh, for
yes,
sure. For sure. And
this is
I'd like to
healthy.
talk about why I became an ethical vegan as well. Because in my book, I have a chapter on. I think I was a wannabe vegan as a kid. I really felt bad for the animals, and um, I remember there was a time going to my uncle's house with my sister, and we both saw a slaughtered cow in the backyard, and it broke my heart. And when my dad would take me fishing, it broke my heart when the fish would squirm, leaving the water. And it made me realize I think I would have been an ethical vegan then, but I didn't have any encouragement from family. Everybody thought vegans were freaks back then and something wrong with us. So I never I never acted on it. But I know I wanted to be. And it wasn't until I remember the exact date, September 6th, 2016, when I saw Robert Cheek's website that I saw that vegan bodybuilders, it's possible to build muscle with just plants.
Yeah.
And, I was in the process of trying to tighten my skin, which is another whole story, which I'll get into in a minute. And I was really working hard at that. So he had a 13-week journal to go completely vegan for 13 weeks to build muscle. And I did that. And after the 13 weeks, I was building more muscle in my arms, and I had very little sagging skin left in my arms, and it was working. And besides that, I was also thinking more about the animals and watching videos on what happens to them. And I got to the point where I was an ethical vegan by the end of the 13 weeks, and I never ever wanted to consume animal products again, and gave up anything with animal products like leather. And I'm definitely a strict ethical vegan now. But I credit Robert Cheek for opening my eyes to what's possible.
Robert Chick's amazing. I really like
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
I've emceed and introduced him too in Nashville. And one of the things, I'm not in there a lot for the talks, but I did
Mhm.
get a piece of his talk, and he would talk about how he as a vegan bodybuilder, he needed to get protein in. He was like, I gotta get my protein, gotta get protein. Like where he was falling asleep with like a vegan hot dog hanging out of his mouth because he was like, I need to get my protein in. And then he learned about Dr. Campbell.
Yeah, exactly. He's an amazing story too because
Yep.
he still has huge muscles in his arms. If you look at his pictures,
Yes.
and he's whole food plant based now, and he's an incredible inspiration to any bodybuilder out there who wants to build muscle. Just look him up. Trust me, he's the real deal. Um, I give him a lot of credit, and it did work for me. I mean, I'll never be a huge bodybuilder. I'm just not built that way. But for the results I want, I'm achieving with his advice and other vegan bodybuilders' advice. But I did bring up the loose skin. That was a big issue for me. And I always promised myself after 5 years, if this loose skin wouldn't go away in my belly, I would take care of that. That was not only an embarrassment at the gym because I would hate when my shirt would ride up and people would see the skin. In fact, somebody came up to me one day before I had the surgery and said to me, "You lost a lot of weight, didn't you?" Because he saw the hanging skin there, and I says, "Yeah," and he says, "Yeah, I see the skin." And I was just so embarrassed, and just for somebody to call out the skin like that, and I didn't like the noise it would make when I was running because I was beginning to run at that point. So it was 5 years, and I did my research. I went to I think 5 consultations, and I chose a doctor in New York City because he had the best knowledge. He had the best stories on his website, and I was saving for it, and it was time, and I was doing a lot of soul searching because I never believed in surgery for weight loss, and I was thinking, what if people think that I was I don't know. It's hard to put in words. I just didn't want people to think I was doing it the wrong way because I had already lost the weight, and it's sad in a way that people who lose weight on their own without surgery, they still have to face it if they have a ton of loose skin. But thankfully, that's my only surgery, and that's the only surgery I ever hope to have is the removal of that skin.
Yeah, I guess people need to realize that when you have 200 plus extra pounds on your body that you've gotten rid of,
Mm-hmm.
right? 150 plus, that your skin, yes, your skin will shrink, right?
Yeah,
Like, if you lose 20 pounds, you're not really worried about your
exactly,
skin hanging out on your body. Your body's just going
exactly,
to shrink down to your weight. But when you go into
exactly.
those 100 plus pounds, that skin has nowhere to go. It just
Right,
kind of hangs on your body, and the only thing that you can do about it if you want to get rid of it is to actually have it surgically tighten up your body, because you don't
right,
want to grow back into the skin.
right. And I talked to Dr. Fuhrman about that. I believe he's the one who told me that he knows some people who actually gained weight back just because they didn't like their skin so much. And that does happen, and I would never let that happen. But when I asked him about it, he says that I got to face facts. Diet isn't going to fix all my skin problems. So he also was another eye opener on why I did the surgery. But,
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. I know Josh Lozani also has, he lost a lot of weight too.
yeah, yeah,
And you know, it just it's it, you know I kind of equate it like that pair of sweatpants that's like really big, like really
mhm,
baggy, and you like
yeah,
lose weight and you can't wear those sweatpants anymore,
right,
and you're like, I love those sweatpants, but I don't want to wear them anymore. So you're
right,
walking around with that baggy sweatpants on you
exactly.
as that
But I give
constant
Josh a lot
reminder.
of credit because he never did surgery. I'm happy for people who can live with it. You know, yeah, I give him a lot of credit for that because I don't like I didn't like showing my belly the way it looked. But anyway,
No, I hear you. You sound definitely more self-conscious, and that's not a bad thing. But you've
yeah.
also worked really hard to get to where you are.
Oh, I did.
Yeah, and I know because I just talked about this on Sunday with Dr. Scott. I said
Mhm.
people who lose weight, like I always looked at the people who like drop the weight, and I'd be like, oh gosh, I wish I could just, you just kind of click your heels and you lose the weight and you're in shape like a couple of weeks later.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's not how it works. The people who've
No,
lost weight have worked really hard.
yeah,
And if you're keeping that weight off, you're working really
yeah,
hard to keep
yeah.
that weight off. Because
That's what
it's
I wish they would show on these TV ads. When they show people, you could look like this. I wish they would emphasize that it takes a lot of hard work, takes a clean diet, and they're going to be left with loose skin. They're not going to look like those models on TV. I really wish they would emphasize that because um, that's not going to happen if they're over 100 pounds.
right. It's a commitment. It's a commitment to yourself that you decide to make and you
Yeah.
hopefully stick with. And
Right.
it's an hour plus a day of exercising or figuring out like what you want to do to keep yourself healthy. And then it's consciously looking at the foods that you're eating,
Oh,
and
yeah, definitely.
and making sure that you purchase the right things, and you have the right things in the house, and you're not tempted. I mean,
Right,
I
right.
and it's not easy. It's not easy like for the month of December.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people get tempted, over the holidays. And, if you think about the pandemic too, people were sheltered and overeating. I'm very regimented and I don't sway from my eating plan. Once in a while, I have other friends like this, like maybe once a month I'll have something with, flour or oil in it. Everybody's only human, but I will not have something with animal products. But it's something with sugar or flour or oil. It's not going to kill you if you just limit it and then go right back to your regimen. Which I think that's what kept me in check during the pandemic. I never allowed myself to just sit there and eat. I could have easily have done that, but but I made sure I was I did a lot of running outside. That got me to run outside more because the gyms were closed in the spring. So I was doing a lot of treadmill running before that, so it got me used to doing more outdoor activities. So and that's another thing. I got heavily into running after losing the weight, and I don't know what it is about runners. Um, I've asked other runners, and they think it's because we lost the weight and we run because we can, which makes a lot of sense. Now we can do it, so and it feels great. I love the fact that I am able to run. I can't explain how incredible it feels to even run a mile because I was that kid who in high school couldn't run the track. The gym teacher would say it's the end of the class, and here I'd still be running the track because I couldn't do the required amount. So he would tell me to just quit because I
Right.
would
Class
go
is
the next
over.
class. Yeah. So it amazes me that I'm able to run now. And one of my goals is to do the New York City Marathon.
Yeah.
Um, I'm hoping this year, we'll see what happens with the pandemic, but I'm hoping that's all over by then. But anyway, that's one of my future goals.
Are you entering any? Are there any marathons to qualify? Or are you going to do are you going to enter to try to get the free lottery? It's the lottery,
Yeah.
right? Or
Well,
if not, you can fundraise.
no, they have a third option. A friend told me about. You can volunteer at their races throughout the year. It doesn't have to be a half marathon or anything. You can do a 5K or something, and you can pass out water as the runners are there. So I think it's like 5 races or something. If you volunteer for a certain number of races during the year, they'll let you in the marathon without a lottery. So that's what I plan to do is volunteer for the other races first.
No, that's awesome. Okay, yeah, I have friends that tried to get in. They've gotten the lottery, they've gotten admission to the race, and then others that have fundraised to get admission to do the race. So, I mean, being that you're right there,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
and
I like going to the city too, so it's another excuse to go to the city too. So
right, and you get to
I
go
don't
to
mind
all
doing.
five boroughs. I don't know if people
Yeah,
understand there's 5 boroughs to New York City,
exactly. Exactly.
and there's bridges
Yeah.
and stuff that you have to do to get to all the boroughs if you're on foot, and that's pretty intense, and
Did
it's
you
not.
ever watch the marathon, or because I did? I think it was 2019. Yeah, it was last year's marathon, or the year before, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
Did
I
Did you
don't.
ever watch them? Or?
I mean, I've turned it on. I haven't really watched it. I mean,
Yeah, I was actually in the city. It just happened to be at the moment when they were doing it. It's a lot of fun to even watch it.
yeah, I've done 26.2 miles. I did a marathon. I walked
Oh,
it.
did
Yeah, so I've completed a full marathon. It like
Nice.
1% of the population completes a full marathon in the course of their lifetime. So I mean
That's
that,
why I want to do it because only 1% of the population is
yep.
done. Yeah, it's
I'm part of
big
that
motivation.
1%, and I did in Hawaii. I raised money for the American Stroke Association and
Yeah,
with the
that's
train.
awesome. It's just like something you can say that you've done. I just love
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was that was yeah, 26.2 miles. Next time you guys are in your car, see how far it is.
Exactly.
26.2 miles is, then go, that woman walked it.
For me, it's 2/3 of the way to my job.
Two-thirds.
That's how far it is. Because I work like 40 miles away. Well, not right now during the pandemic. We're working from home, but it's 40 something miles. So you can imagine I did like more than half of that by running. I mean, I didn't do it yet, but I mean
Right.
that would be an incredible feat for me. I've done 2 half marathons so far. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, if I wouldn't do a full again. I would, a half is like, oh, a half would be easy.
Yeah.
Like 13
Oh,
miles,
yeah.
13 miles, that's easy.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, the train and stroke program is interesting. It takes people from couch to marathon within like 3, 4 months.
Right.
So it
Now,
was
for me, I don't think I'd ever be like an ultra marathoner and keep doing them. For me, I like smaller races. I just want to do this one goal, and then I think 5K and 10K races are a lot of fun, and not too hard in the joints.
right.
Um, so I did have a knee injury last year, by the way, after a race, and I had to go to the ER actually because
Oh,
my knee was so swollen. And I don't know if it's a tear or what happened, but my clean eating, got me better in no time. But I did take like a month off from running then, and so you got to take care of yourself too.
oh yeah, it's really important because the last thing you want is to not be able to do the thing that helps you like maintain your health.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, no, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah,
to
I
hear you
agree.
talk, I mean, you've done. I mean, I hear your motivation. I see it. It's pretty incredible. Not everyone is as motivated, but hopefully they can look at you and learn from that and know like I think one of the hardest things is that first step. It's it's
It is.
it's
It
it's
is.
it's that first walk into the gym or that first walk outside.
That is the hardest. Yeah, I
Your
agree.
hard of breath and walking is just it's painful. It's painful. The beginning exercise is not fun.
Yeah,
It
I
will get
totally agree.
better, but then you're going to keep wanting to push yourself, so you're going to keep going through those not fun moments
Hmm.
because you're not going to ever improve if you don't keep pushing yourself. So
That's
you
so true.
but
So
once you
true.
get through the first couple of those not fun moments in your body hurting,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it will get better. And with a whole food plant-based diet, you're not going to hurt for as long as an
No,
animal
no, you
product
won't.
person.
You're absolutely
You
right
know,
there.
your
When
recovery will
I,
be way
yeah.
quicker.
When I first walked in the gym, when I was started really getting into fitness again, in 2012, it was really hard. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I felt like people were staring at me while I was trying to run, and it's really tough. I give obese people a lot of credit when they walk into the gym because you don't want to be stared at, and people are. And I don't know. This is tough to explain, but you just have to stick with it. I always tell people, and it's in my book too, if I can do it, anybody can, because how can somebody who's been eating this way for years suddenly make the change and stick with it? Um, I would never think it would be possible. But, I mean, I know I have a lot of friends who are the same way. We lost 300 plus pounds, some people 400 pounds, and we're able to keep it off. And every one of my friends who have lost weight this way, we are all plant-based eaters. So that tells you something right there.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there might be other success stories out there, but they're very rare, and I don't know them. So
They're success stories until sadly the weight goes back
totally,
on
yeah, exactly.
because there's definitely a psychological, a physical, and an emotional, like and what you're feeding yourself component to losing weight and keeping weight off. And
Yeah,
if mentally if you change the way you think and not focus so much on food and making it a high priority like food or die, no, food is to live, food is to fuel you, and yes, food can be absolutely amazing and delicious. However, it can't be your like ride or die. You have to,
exactly.
right, you have to look at it as like fuel and make it taste really good because we can, as whole
Yeah,
food, plant-based, and vegan, like easily can do that without salt, without oil, and without sugar. It can easily be done. And,
exactly.
and there's a lot of chefs and cookbooks and people that you can go to for advice on that on the internet. And you can just write to us because we know them too, or get your book because
Yeah,
I think there's a section in there
yeah,
that
there
probably
is.
talks about that. And, they're just, you need all those components in order to
Yeah.
do this well. And you need to exercise and you need to eat well and you need to emotionally realize that you eat what you love,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
if you don't eat what you love, you're gonna eat a lot of that when you because you've deprived
Right.
yourself of it.
Right. And that's why, I don't eat those processed fake meats myself, but I do think they're very important for for people in transition. Um, because for one thing, you're saving a cow. You don't have to die for to have the burger. And I do believe that people need to, go at their own speed. If you're able to go full in whole food plant based, great. I, for myself, I did a very slow transition, eliminating foods each week or each month. But I say do what's comfortable. If you need transition foods for a while, then go at it. Important thing is getting the animal products out, but make sure you try to eat cleaner as time goes on, because you're not going to lose weight and you won't get very far if you just eat the vegan processed foods. But it is a good transition.
Right. Especially for someone who's an omnivore
Yeah,
and they don't even know like what vegan is.
exactly, exactly.
It's a great way to move over and save the planet and your health and the animals at the same time, but in moderation when it comes to the processed foods.
Right. How long have you been vegan yourself?
It's been over 9 years, but
Wow,
I,
that's
I
good.
was I was vegetarian altogether with my vegetarianism and my veganism. I'm at 32 years.
Nice, nice.
It's been a long
See, I
time.
wish I started as a kid, like I told you in that chapter in the book. I could have been, but that's great that you started so many years ago.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's been a fun journey. It
yeah,
ebbs and flows, and you kind of figure out where and what you want to do, and that's why
hmm,
we always have to meet people where they're at, as
right.
opposed to where we want them to be.
And
Because
yeah, and
no, go
I do
ahead.
give you and people like Robert Cheek a lot of credit because back when you started, the foods they weren't as readily available, especially if you relied on vegan processed foods like Robert Cheek. He did for a few years. I mean, when he started, there was no vegan options, so that must have been a very hard transition for him. And I
Yeah,
imagine when you were a vegetarian, so it wasn't as hard for you,
right.
but still, I'm sure there were difficulties back then.
Well,
Um,
I Robert Cheek was eating like tofu pups, like soy dogs and stuff,
yeah,
because he's vegan for the whole time that he's over 20 years vegan, whereas
right.
vegetarian back when I was 19, and we're talking 1989, I think,
Hmm.
1988, 89, and like I was a kid, so I was eating grilled cheese and French fries and ketchup. I didn't eat
Right,
vegetables. I went
right,
vegetarian. I didn't eat vegetables. I learned.
right, right.
So I didn't eat healthy, but I was
No,
like you. I was going out dancing 5 nights a week. So I was
but,
going out all night dancing at clubs, and
so people probably didn't notice that you're a vegetarian then, since you ate like cheese and different things. It probably wasn't as much of an issue then
it was just my
for other
family
people.
was like thought I was out of my mind because I wouldn't eat
Oh,
meat
did they?
anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But I just, you just keep learning. I grew, I
Yeah,
learned.
that's the other thing we should talk about is real quick is the backlash that people get because I've gotten it as well. Yeah, not so much because I think there's more knowledge out there now. But I have heard at the gym a few times, where do you get your protein? Of course, that classic question. And, people say to me, it's too strict or they could never do that. But I almost felt embarrassed in a way that I was vegan at first in 2016. when I first started out because nobody I knew of was eating this way. And the way I was brought up, I was taught you had to eat meat. So, but Robert Cheek sold a shirt. I keep bringing him up because he was a huge influence. But he sold a "No Meat, No Problem" shirt that I still have to this day. But so I wore that shirt at the gym during the 13-week challenge with this workout journal because I wanted people to know I was doing a vegan challenge. It didn't seem so extreme. It was like a challenge, so they knew I was used to challenges. So I wouldn't be like such a freak doing another challenge. But after that 13 weeks, I was so proud of the results that I started telling everybody. I continue to wear the vegan shirts to the gym, and I still do, even though I'm not going to the gym now till the pandemic's over. But I always wear vegan shirts when I'm there. I want people to know that you can feel great and build muscle, and you can do everything you want as a vegan. You don't have to have animal products for any of your goals.
That's right. And I'm glad you brought that up too, because you know it's important for us to let people know that this is doable, and we haven't given up anything.
Exactly.
We've gained way more than we could ever feel like we've given up
Oh,
by
for
by what
sure,
we're
for sure.
doing. Like
But
just
just think of how many animals we're saving too. I mean,
yep.
I sometimes go to that vegan calculator just
Hmm.
to that really makes you think just what an impact even one person can have on the planet. And imagine if more and more people did it, it would have a huge impact on the planet.
Right. And that means, even just like I always say, even if you just decide to do meatless Mondays, you make an impact
Yeah,
by doing
anything.
meatless
Yeah,
Mondays. And then see how you
everything.
feel. Change all your lunches to plant based. And then see how you feel.
Exactly, exactly.
And,
And that
and
would
then,
have a huge impact. Yeah.
yep, you do make a difference. And,
Yeah.
if you make this decision and you take care of yourself, and it's hard to go back.
Oh
It's
yeah,
really
I'm
hard
sure
to
you
go
do.
back.
You'd never go back to that.
Not go back.
The thing is, people hate this pandemic. I would hate to see another pandemic. And how do
Right.
pandemics happen?
Animals.
By slaughtering of animals.
Yep. Exactly.
I
And
mean, people have to learn, and I hope they've learned the lesson from this one.
I really, fingers crossed. I hope so.
I
I
know
really
me
hope
too.
so
Yeah.
too.
Because more and more people have gone plant-based during this pandemic. I've heard the news, and I know more people are buying the veggie burgers than ever before. So I do think there's a lot of positive signs that things are changing.
Yeah. And as the pricing of all the plant-based processed foods comes down, it'll
Yeah,
become more of a viable option for people that kind of go, well, do I want this animal-based hamburger? And why don't I get this, plant-based burger meat, because
exactly.
it does the same thing. And my doctor said I need to lower my cholesterol, and there's no
Mhm.
cholesterol
Yeah,
in this.
exactly,
And it looks the
exactly.
same.
Right, right.
So let's just give it a try. Or I had that Beyond Burger at the restaurant, or Impossible Burger at the
Yeah, it wasn't that
restaurant.
bad. Yeah,
And look, I can buy it in the store now, and do it at home. Right. So, I mean,
exactly,
those are really good transition foods, really good foods for people who
for sure.
that try it and go, well, here, let's do this. I mean, especially when you see zero cholesterol, and your doctor was just like
Yeah,
on your
yeah,
case about your
exactly,
cholesterol
exactly.
levels. It's like,
That should be huge on their labels. No cholesterol. Yeah.
yes,
If
it definitely
I were
makes a big
them, that would
difference.
be a big selling point. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's right there.
Yep.
They advertise it on there, like the difference in the fat and the cholesterol. It's like zero cholesterol. Buy this. It's like this red light in the meat section because they
Exactly.
put it there
Exactly.
intentionally. So, Richard,
And
this
these
is
people,
go ahead.
I just want to say real quick, and these people who say they have compassion for animals, well, now with these plant-based options, it will make them think more and more about, hey, I don't have to contribute to animal slaughter anymore. So I
Right.
think it's a positive sign.
It's a wonderful sign. I'm glad you brought that up too. So, Richard, if people wanted to contact you, how would they do that?
You could find me on Facebook just by searching my name, but I'm also I have my own blog, Healthy Living Connecticut. It's healthylivingct.com. They can find my articles on there. I have my own YouTube channel. If you go to Healthy Living in CT, you'll find interviews with Dr. Fuhrman, Eric Adams, that I mentioned, Dr. Clapper, and others.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and they could also find me by searching for my book on Amazon. If they put in my name and type plant based, my book, A Plant Based Journey to Health, will show up. And I'm also on Instagram.
Okay.
Um, it's my handle is rich.plant.strong on Instagram.
Okay. Rich dot. Say that one more time.
Rich.plant.strong.
Okay.
Yeah,
Rich dot plant dot strong. All right. Very cool. I think we got. And I also posted the link to the book.
oh, thank you.
And I didn't put it on the screen because it's really
Yeah,
long, but
yeah,
it's in the comments. So if anyone is interested in getting the book, you can just click that link, and you can go take a look at it on Amazon. You can get it obviously digitally, or you can get a paperback, and
right.
that is part of the notes. And I'll put it in the YouTube as well. I'll put a link there as well.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, thank you
Well,
so much for joining me
I had a lot of fun. Yeah,
and sharing about your your vegan transformation and losing 150 pounds, keeping it off over 8 years. I mean, that kudos to you, and I'm really proud of you because it sounds
thank
like
you so much.
you sound very conscientious and and like more emotional than probably people think a man would be, right? And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy
No,
for
it
you to
wasn't.
be
It
around
wasn't.
all the gym heads, right?
No,
So,
no.
no, I hear that, I see that. So, I mean, I recognize that, and I'm really proud of you.
I do appreciate that a lot.
No, no
Yeah, it's
problem.
just we recognize how much effort it is. Yeah, thank you for
Yes.
that.
Oh, definitely. I get it. I mean, 30 pounds, 150 pounds, like I totally get it. It's hard work. So,
Yeah.
and but worth it. Just so you all
Oh,
know, definitely
I
worth
have no
it.
regrets. No regrets at all. Yes.
Well, I hope you have a great day and rest of your
Okay, thank you.
night. And I really appreciate you coming on.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks, Richard. Bye bye.
Bye.
Well, that was awesome. So if you're out there and you're thinking, like, wow, I need to lose some weight, well, it's not easy, but it's worth it. And you can do it. We did it. You can do it. Well, let's close this out. Make sure you wear a mask over your nose, under your chin, not like this because, your nose is connected to your lungs and this is rendered useless if you don't wear it correctly. Over your nose, under your chin. Wear this when you go out. Wear this when you're around other people, whether it's outside or inside your house. Wear a mask. And, social distance, take care of yourself. Make sure that, you do the right thing. There's a pandemic out there. And then if you can, please go buy some food, get some takeout at your local vegan restaurants wherever you are, or vegan friendly restaurants, and support them to help them get through the pandemic because this is really hard on the restaurants. And we need to support them because when we can go back to being with one another and dining inside a restaurant, we want them to still exist. And the best way to do that is to support them if you have the means. Now, we are back on Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Amy Goldstein. And she is half the woman I used to be. So we're going to continue with our vegan transformation stories. And we will see you then. Have a good night. Be careful if there's weather coming and kind of like in our area in Knoxville, Tennessee, 97% chance of snow. So if you have any weather coming, please be careful. And we will see you soon. Saturday, to be exact. Bye.